What's up, guys? Luke back again with another Gaming Week in Review podcast where we talk about the things that have interested us in the world of video games each and every week. But with that being said, let's get right into it. Really quick, guys, got some kind of smaller news, but still stuff I kind of want to touch on real quick. Xbox has had a really tough time getting Project Xcloud on the iOS platform. So it's been kind of a mess with Xcloud as well as Google Stadia trying to enter into that Apple market. Apple is just Apple. Like, come on. Like, if we don't get it by now, then we'll never get it. They're all about consumer unfriendliness. They're all about controlling the consumer. And I guess people like that. I'll never understand it. I'll never own an iPhone. I promise you that. Even if it was the last phone on planet Earth that I could get, I just keep my old one because I just do not like the practices of Apple, but in specific, the iPhone. The iPhone is an absolute lockdown piece of garbage, and I just don't like it. So apparently neither does Microsoft or Google, but they are figuring out ways to get around the lockdown restrictions of the Apple App Store is what they call it. So basically, here's the story in a nutshell. Microsoft wanted to put Project Xcloud onto Apple phones. Apple said no. They later on said, yes, you can, but you have to make separate apps for each game that the customer, when they access your main app, it sends and they click on, say they want to play Forza, they have to go to a separate app that is Forza for Game Pass and then play it through that. So in other words, if they want to play all of your games, they have to have, 200 different apps on the App Store. And I guarantee you, every single app, Apple's getting a cut. Even if it's a free app, Apple's still getting paid somehow every time an app is downloaded. So obviously, their consumer friendliness is just blowing in the wind. Xbox recently, Phil Spencer basically was quoted as saying, we will have xCloud on iOS devices, like it will happen. And the way that they're going to do that is through a browser solution. So for example, you just boot up Safari or Google Chrome on your iPhone and you can go into Game Pass through your browser, which isn't ideal, but at least it works. At least it's a way that Apple users can play Xcloud, and then maybe even Stadia, the 4 or 5 people that are still using Google Stadia, they can use Google Stadia on their iPhones too. Legend of Zelda Remastered mod pack was just recently released for it's kind of like a fan-made remaster of the original Legend of Zelda. It works with the Messen emulator, which is, I guess, an NES emulator. I have never heard of Messen, but it's another NES emulator. It's probably like optimized for ROM hacks is what I'm kind of guessing. So it's it's a specific emulator that it needs, and it does require steps to make this thing work. But I do want to say I looked over the just some video of this remaster, and it was a fantastic job. I didn't get the name. I should have gotten the names, but like we'll put the credits for them on the screen so you guys can see these people that worked on this project, because they deserve to be just talked about and praised, because they literally remastered the original Legend of Zelda. It's the same game, but it just has a fresh coat of paint. It reminds me a lot of A Link to the Past, which is a huge fan favorite for Zelda fans. A lot of people still say it's their favorite Zelda game of all time. So it looks like almost like Super Mario All-Stars for the Super Nintendo, not 3D All-Stars, the Super Nintendo Super Mario All-Stars, but Zelda version. That's what this would look like if we got a Zelda All-Stars for Super Nintendo back in the day. So looks phenomenal, plays phenomenal. The graphics are in HD. It just looks beautiful. And I would love, I do want to say this, I would love if this got ported over to the Switch. The Switch modding scene would be very, very appreciative if this was somehow ported over there. Maybe there is a way to make it work, but I'm really kind of crossing my fingers because I would love to play this on my Nintendo Switch. It just would feel at home playing this on my Nintendo Switch. I'm sure Nintendo has other things to say about that, but you know, hey, it's a fun project. They're not getting paid for this. This is something that they are purely doing out of passion. They love it and they want to share it with others. So I don't see anything wrong with it. Limited run news. As I started last week, we're going to be doing limited run news every single week, where I basically catch everybody up on what is going on with limited run games. They are moving at the speed of light right now, and I always have plenty of stuff to talk with them. We're going to get into last chance games first. This is your last chance to get these games, so you need to buy them or pass at this point. And we have the Tau Plan Collector's Edition as well as the Tau Plan Shmup games. You can they're 4 different games. They have a Collector's Edition that has sort of it's like a just like a normal like multi collector's edition sleeve where you can have all these games, and these are Sega Genesis cartridges, so they're for the Sega Genesis. These are shmup games that were I guess released on the Sega Genesis. I didn't play any of these. I've heard of Zero Wing, I think Truxton too, but I've never been much of a shmup guy. I'm going to personally pass on this, but for a shmup fan, especially a retro shmup fan, and especially someone that's into Sega Genesis in 2020, I think this is a great pickup. The Collector's Edition comes with all 4 games, or you can buy these games individually. The games are Zero Wing, Truxton, Hellfire, Fire Shark, and those are the 4, and then you can buy these individually for $44.99, or you can buy the whole collection for $159.99. I didn't get the exact date when these are going off, but they do have the last chance tag on them, and I'll do better on that in future podcasts. New for this week, we got a lot. Iron Fury, I talked about it last week, looks super good. It's a Doom / Duke Nukem / Shadow Warrior style game built in that same engine but made for modern consoles. So cool that they did this. It's getting a physical release. Nothing special, which is a bummer. I would love to have seen a classic edition of this with one of those commemorative Nintendo 64 sort of carts that were metal. Oh my gosh, I love those metal carts that Limited Run does. And maybe a few little extra trinkets, but at least we're getting a standard edition of this. It's going to be released on PS4 and Switch. And then another heads up, just a reminder, PS4 version is running in 60 FPS. The Switch version comes standard at 30 FPS, but can be moved to an uncapped frame rate where it tries to hit that 60, but doesn't always succeed by entering the Konami code. How cute. So you can enter the Konami code on the Switch version, and it'll uncap the frame rate at least, so you can hopefully get those higher frames at least, majority of the time is the hope. That's going to be $29.99, and that has already begun, so you can go and pre-order that right now today. The 16th, however, in the here upcoming, we're going to be getting that's actually tomorrow. At the time of this recording. By the time you guys see this on YouTube, this will probably already be live. Destroy All Humans, the PS2 game, not the re-release. You can go to GameStop right now, Amazon, and buy that physically right now. But this is the original game, not the remake. The PS2 game, but in a PS4 box. kind of cool. They also did 2 LP soundtracks, so you can get the entire soundtrack on LP. The game is going to be $29.99, and the LP to 2 LP soundtrack is going to be $34.99, and that goes live once again on the October 16th. So go and pick that up. Super exciting. I can't wait. I love Destroy All Humans, and I love the PS2 release. It was such a cool, groundbreaking release. Back in those days, it was all about the sandbox, open city sort of games, and like the humor was great. The voice acting, I feel like the voice acting in the original game was more memorable than the new one, although the new one did bring some cool stuff to the table, but the original voice acting really just gets me. So great game. Go pick it up if you don't have it digitally, I would say, but even if you do have it digitally, have it in PS4 form. It's cool. Fatal Fury Battle Archives Volume 2 is going to be released. I feel like this game has been released before through limited run, but it may have been a different Fatal Fury game. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I feel like these games just kind of mesh they're like the same game, but maybe I'm like way off base there. Please school me in the comments down below. It's going to be a PS4 only release, so no Switch copy. It'll have a standard and a collector's edition. The collector's edition is going to contain the non-functional classic Neo Geo Shock, or a functional classic Neo Geo Shock box. You can hold your game case, the original case for the PS4, and the commemorative Neo Geo cart in this box, as well as the collector's edition comes with a commemorative non-functional Neo Geo mini Neo Geo cartridge, 5 art cards that look gorgeous, by the way, and a reversible 18 by 24 poster. This is a true to limited run release, though. This is one of those where you need to be up in the morning with your coffees flowing, or you're not going to get it. It's not a pre-order. It's not the 4-week pre-order that we've kind of become accustomed to seeing from limited run. This will be a limited release. We're going to have 3,500 standard and 2,000 for the collector's edition. So that's not a lot, but I don't anticipate this like selling out like too super fast. I think it will sell out the day of because people love SNK 2D fighters. So I do expect it to sell out, but just a heads up if this is something you're really excited about. Once again, this does drop on the 16th, so if you're seeing it on YouTube, you may have missed it. And that's a reason and a bit of a segue into letting you guys know that I do record these live on my live stream. Right now, my chat is pretty much not... I can't see them right now, but I do catch up after I finish the podcast for you guys. But if you want to catch this news live as I'm kind of releasing it, so you can catch things like Fatal Fury Battle Archives Volume 2, you got to check out my live stream. I stream over at Facebook Gaming. Link will be in the description. Go check it out. Throw me a follow. Hit the bell so you can catch me every time I go live. But going back to Fatal Fury, standard edition is going to be $29.99. Collector's edition will be $15.90 or $59.99. I think it's a good deal. I like $60 collector's editions, especially when they come with commemorative carts. They're just fun. Kind of a weird one. Hitman 3 Deluxe Edition is getting a physical release, and it's going to be distributed through limited run games. This is kind of a new thing. There really hasn't been a ton of Xbox One and Series X physical releases through limited run, so it's good to see that. But from a game like Hitman 3, it just raises the question, like, why? And then secondly, like, it raises more questions. Is Hitman 3, this new upcoming game, not gonna have a physical release? Is it gonna be really digital only? A game that big is going to just be digital only? God, I hope not. But, it may be the direction that a lot of these companies are going with this new generation. They're going all in with digital only. They're done producing physical games, and they're just moving into this new digital only future that they kind of have, you know, chosen for us, because you guys know my heels are dug in. I'm all in for physical releases. Digital's cool too, but it should be half the price. That's where I draw the line. Okay, digital's cool, but it should be half the price or less. Paying full price, paying $80 for a deluxe edition Hitman 3 digitally, probably not going to happen unless you guys really want me to, but most likely not going to happen. Just going to get the physical copy. If that's not available, I'm going to move on, because I have so many games to play and not enough time in my life. So that's how I feel about that. But, you know, if you are interested, if you're a big Hitman fan, definitely go check it out. It doesn't look like it's a limited run of any kind, but it will be closing relatively quick. So once it closes, that's pretty much it. So definitely go over and check that out. It is available right now for you guys to purchase for Xbox One/Series X, which is in the same case, which I love. Or you can get it on PS4, and it has that PSVR extra added bonus. Or you can get the PS5 version as well, and the PSVR should work perfectly fine with the PS5. So if you're planning on picking up a PS5 and Hitman 3, I would get it physically. I mean, why not? So you can go over there and check that out. And then we have some more stuff coming next week. Actually, one thing that's coming next week, and it looks really cool. Mummy Demastered, and we're used to always hearing the word remastered, right? That's kind of a big word for just like the current state of gaming. There's not a whole ton of great new ideas. So remastered is something that we all know, that we know that word, right? This is actually demastered though. So I guess this is taking Mummy, the game Mummy, and making it, you know, a more of a 16-bit style game. Is Mummy a game? Like, is it? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But Mummy Demastered is it's a Metroidvania style game. It is made by Way Forward, which is the same company that makes the Shantae series and a ton of other awesome retro style, indie style games. Great developer. The game looks so good. Like, if you're into Metroidvania style games, I think this is going to be a definite must own. We'll have a standard and a collector's edition for this. It's a PS4 and Nintendo Switch release. The collector's edition is going to come with the game in a classic SNES style box. So that same beautiful retro style box with the cellophane, and it's gonna be nice. Soundtrack on CD, so we'll have this complete soundtrack in CD form, and a commemorative Super Nintendo cartridge. This will be non-functioning, just a heads up. It's just for looks, but it's still fun. Like, I love it. And from the picture, it looks like it's not one of those cheesy SNES carts. Like, if you've ever bought in a bootleg game, you know, maybe by accident or maybe on purpose. I mean, some of these games are pretty expensive. Maybe you picked up Earthbound on, you know, eBay for like $30 instead of paying $300. I'm not judging you. You do your thing. But, you know, usually they'll come in these like kind of cheesy cartridges where it's like it like snaps apart and like the board's all cheap and it just looks terrible. But this one actually looks like it actually has screws in it. So, you know what would be really cool is if you could somehow put a cartridge in there one day. Maybe this ROM can somehow be put onto a Super Nintendo cartridge. Fingers crossed. And then, you know, you can make your own Mummy Demastered and play it on your original Super Nintendo. Fat chance, but maybe it does happen one day. This will be a 4-week pre-order, so it's not something that you need to wake up and slam 4 coffees and have everything ready in your checkout and be signed in and everything. This is a 4-week pre-order, so get in there. You got 4 weeks to grab it. No stress. We're also gonna have soundtrack on vinyl. Man, limited run. Gosh, they should start their own vinyl company at this point. They put vinyls on so many different games. It's super cool, and they all seem to be very affordable too. Like, I remember back in the day with like when vinyls were like becoming a thing. God, they would charge $80-$90 for a set of vinyl records, which I mean, for the right person, I think is worth it if you're like in love with the soundtrack. But like nowadays, it's gotten a lot cheaper. It seems like the vinyl for what game was that? The vinyl for Destroy All Humans it's a 2 LP vinyl set, and it's $34.99. I can swallow that. I can take that. $80, I'm kind of shaky, but $35 for 2 vinyl records, that's pretty cool. Maybe I should start getting these. I don't know. And then, by the way, the music from, I haven't played the game, but the music from the trailer, whew, it's fire, guys. Like, it is definitely, I feel like I've listened to one track, and I already know that vinyl is probably going to be worth getting, because we don't have a price for it yet. It was just a Twitter post from Limited Run, so we still don't have a whole lot of information. But if that thing is a dime under $50, I would totally pick that thing up, because the music is so good. There is going to be a collector's edition, and we do have a price for that for the Mummy Demastered. It's going to be $54.99, and there was no price listed, but yeah. So it will be. No price listed for the standard edition. Sorry about that, guys. I got kind of mixed up in my notes. All right, so that's all the small news. Let's get into the big news of this week. Seems like Sony is kind of on a roll. It seems like every week they're releasing a little bit more information on the PS5, which is slower than I would like, but let's just face it, we're all probably going to own these systems anyways. So whatever they decide to do, I think it would hurt them in the long run, maybe for PS6, but as long as they kind of got their ducks in a row, I guess they can release information leading right up to the week of the system being released. By the way, it does come out very, very soon, less than a month now, until we can get our hands on the PS5. Well, some of us can, but that's exciting in its own right. But we do have the PS5 OS. We basically have had the OS has been announced. So I just kind of wanted to give my impressions on that. There's a few things that I saw that I really enjoyed. We'll have a link in the description so you can go. Actually, it'll be on the screen. So first thing I want to talk about was background sounds seem to not be annoying, and the reason why I say that is in the past the boot up and the like initial sounds of the PlayStation have been very hit and miss, in my opinion. I love the PS1. The boot up of the PS1 is it's magnifique. It's iconic. It's awesome. I can listen to it thousands of times. The PS2 boot up screen, absolute ear rape. I hate it. It's like the worst sounds on a game system ever. The PS3, more of the same, kind of annoying violin, sort of, ear rape. It wasn't very good. PS4 was okay, it was subtle, but still got annoying after a long time. PS5, I tried to listen to it as they're talking over it, and that was kind of annoying, but it sounds like it's good. It sounds very elegant. It sounds very, just easy listening, sort of background instrument play. It sounds like something that could just be continually playing in the background of your house, and you wouldn't get like overly annoyed by it, but we'll see as time goes on. So I just wanted to throw that in. Not a lot of people are talking about that, but it's a small thing, but it becomes a big thing. There's more of a minimalist design with the PS5 UI. It's very, very simple, just icons on the screen. It does resemble the PS4 a lot, but it does kind of like break away from the PS4's UI, and it sort of refines it. You know, the edges of all the icons are rounded now, and there's less bloat on the screen. Like the PS4 just kind of feels less optimized, feels like more like a prototype, and then this feels like the final version. So you can definitely see there's been a lot of time put into getting this UI set up so it's user friendly, it's clean, and it looks nice. It's visually appealing to the eyes. Another cool feature that they're adding is hints and tips in game with picture-in-picture. So I've done it in the stream before many times where I'm, you know, playing a game. Just last week we were playing Blair Witch on the stream, and I got stuck, man. And I'm like walking around, chat's getting anxious. They're like, "You're an idiot. You have no idea what you're doing." You know, they're trolling me hardcore. No, not really. I have like the best chat in the world, but you know, that I like to imagine that they were kind of thinking those things, and I was like, you know what, enough's enough. Went over and Googled it. You know, watched a video on stream. I'm like, you know, watching a video on stream, drooling, and you know, it wasn't good for the experience to figure out where I was supposed to go. I think it was worth it, but it wasn't great. So with this, we'll be able to pull up tips right in game, like pull them up, picture in picture them, put them anywhere we want on the screen, and watch it, have it side by side as we go and finish it. I have a bit of a rule, you know, it's 15 minutes if I don't really like the game. It's 25 minutes if I do like the game, but I just don't have time to sit and walk around in circles because of poor game development or because I'm kind of stupid. So after that period, I just say, you know what? I throw my hands in the air. I say, I'm not the best gamer in the world. I already know that. I'm very casual, very average. So I'm going to admit defeat on this puzzle, and I'm going to let YouTube show me. So having this is really nice. It makes it smoother. It makes it better for streamers too. It's more interactive. The chat gets to see you kind of, you know, concede, you know, maybe troll you a little bit in the chat, you know, kind of playfully mess with you, you know, because you're cheating pretty much. So, but it is really nice. I think it's great for streamers. It's great for just anybody. I mean, like we've all been in that situation before where we're like scratching our head, like, dude, I've been playing this game for way too long. Okay, you know, Google it real quick and try to figure it out. And you got your phone here and the game's there, and you know, it's just a big mess. So this kind of streamlines that, and I love that. There's new party features as well, so if you're into like online gaming a lot and you like to get into big parties and like chat with your friends and stuff, it's more than just chatting now, which is great. You can share your screen, so if you're playing Uncharted, a single player game, and you maybe just want to show your buddy that's in party chat like where you're at, how it looks, you know, maybe you see like a beautiful vista and it's like, it's just gorgeous in the game. You're playing Ghost of Tsushima, it's just gorgeous, and you're like, oh my gosh, I want you guys to see this. You can take a snapshot, share it to the party. Everyone in the party can see it, or you can invite your party to go and watch the game in real time as you're playing it as well. So it's a very, very much more fleshed out party chat now, which is, it's just great. I love it a lot. There's a lot of stuff here that I'm seeing that I'm really liking. There's been a lot of time put into this, and I'm pretty excited about it. Also with video capture, just a heads up for those of you that are wondering, video capture will be up to 4K. So if you want to capture gameplay for your YouTube channel, for your live stream, yada, 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 you can get that in 4K, which is great. And lastly, trophies have been removed. Trophies are no longer a thing from what I can see for Sony. It's been turned into activities. I don't know why. I think trophies sounds way better than activities, but okay, I guess. Activities are now the thing, and basically the cool thing about this is they give you these different activities for each game that you can complete, and they kind of show you, like, of course they do the typical, collect this in this part of the game sort of deal, and then you complete that activity. But they also give you kind of an ETA as far as how long it's gonna take. So I know a lot of you guys have sunk in many, many hours into games that you probably should have been spending your time doing other things, but you needed to get that platinum trophy. So at least now with activities, they'll tell you that you need to sink 300 hours into a certain part of the game in order to get your platinum / whatever they're calling it now sort of trophy, and hopefully you'll make better life decisions and not go after it. But if that's your kind of thing, at least you'll know how much of your time you're gonna need to waste to make that happen. But still kind of cool. I'm really excited about PS5 OS. I think it's gonna be really cool. I think it's going to be really sleek and refreshing. And lastly, I do want to just kind of do a small comparison. I haven't dove deep into the new OS for Xbox, but there's it, and they look sort of similar, and there are some cool things that Xbox is doing with their OS, but I still feel like it's kind of a mess. It doesn't feel like you're on a PC anymore, which is great because I hate Windows. But it still is a bit of a mess. It's still hard to get to your settings. It's not very straightforward. There's a lot of things that are just sort of hard to get a hold of. It's a little better, but they still got work to do. I think PS5 kind of gets the nod on this one for sure, but they need to win a few. Microsoft's been winning a lot, so I think PS5 is going to take the W on the OS or the UI in this generation, but we'll see. Maybe Microsoft has some more things they're going to roll out. Maybe they'll learn some lessons from what Sony's doing and implement them in their own OS, and everyone's happy because they're both picking up their game and taking it into next gen. And finally, we got the comment of the week, guys. This one is a banger, okay?
Dude,
the comment of the freaking week!
It's the comment of the week! It's the comment of the week!
Came from last week's podcast, and Jared Salway commented... Comment. Thank you so much, Jared Salway, for your amazing in-depth analysis of what I was talking about last week, talking about the PS5 teardown, talking about all the limited run games released, talking about Sega and the Game Gear, talking about Bowser at Team Executor, and you had this, I have never met someone that could sum up their thoughts into a single comment. Thank you, Jared, for your comment that said one word, comment. But that's gonna do it, guys. I'm just kidding. We actually had a comment of the week. Jared is a big viewer of the stream, and I thought he would get a kick out of that. But we did actually get a real comment of the week. By the way, Jared did comment. So Yeah, that was a thing. But our real comment of the week comes from Official No Friendo. This is actually a YouTube channel similar to mine as far as size goes. Great guy, he's a family guy. Does a lot of Switch content, a lot of gameplay stuff, a lot of reviews, a little bit of speculation, a little bit of that for next gen. But majority of his content is based around Nintendo Switch and a little bit of branching out here and there. And he said on our previous podcast when we were talking about the PS5, he said, yeah, I'm not going to get the PS5 until there is a game made just for PS5. Just a disappointing generation for me. I think both Sony and Microsoft should have waited to release their new systems. Just so many issues with trying to get these out. Like lack of pre-orders, no console exclusives, just to name a couple. And do the graphics look that much better? I'm just not all that hyped. And that sucks, because I'm always hyped for a new console. Boo-boo! Thank you so much, Official No Friendo, for that comment. I agree with that entire comment. You have a very, very valid points there. No games, no real like thing that's really pulling us into to play it. The pre-order situation has been an absolute mess, and it feels forced on both sides. It feels forced. We just finished the worst year ever, or we're still in it, but I feel like we're coming out of it. I'm optimistic. But we're finishing up the worst year ever. It's been a mess for manufacturing. Everyone's feeling the burn right now. I paid 3 times as much for a repair part that before, when they were getting cranked out over in China, I was paying a lot less. The production is down, and it's just a part of us being in a pandemic. The good news is these things seem to only come around every 100 years or so. So we'll all be dead in graves by the time the next one comes around. But it feels forced. Both consoles are not ready, in my opinion. They can be ready, but it feels forced. It feels rushed. It's for a lot of people, I think it's very just kind of depressing. It bums you out because you can't get a hold of these things. You have to, camp out in front of a store or, fight a bot online, and no one's going to win against a bot to get these systems. So a lot of people missed out, including myself, on getting a PS5 and an Xbox Series X. And it sucks. And I feel the same way. I'm excited, but I'm more excited for the 8-bit plus announced launch of the PS5 and Series X, which is March 10th and March 22nd, because that's when they'll actually be in stock, and I can go down to the store and I can pick one up freely, hopefully, and take one home. We're going to declare that's the launch, and hopefully that makes everyone feel a little bit better. But I am excited for the future coming into it. 4K gaming is great, but I need to get a monitor that can actually run 4K and 120 hertz. Without that, I don't think really getting the new console's really that great, unless you can utilize it, unless you can utilize 4K and 120 hertz. Why the heck would you deal with it? I would get the monitor first, invest the $600-700 in a 4K 120 FPS monitor, and then get the consoles that can, put out for it. So, that's kind of my opinion. But once again, thank you, Official No Friendo, for that comment of the week. Thank you so much, guys. But that's going to do it for me. That's enough for me. I would like to hear from you guys now. What do you guys think about the new PS5 UI? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Are you somewhere in the middle? I think there's been a lot of great features, and I'm really excited for it. Also, what do you think about limited run releases coming up this week and next week? Are you going to pick any of those up? Do any of those interest you? Let me know in the comments. And lastly, what do you guys think about Apple products? Do you like them? Do they suck? I already stated my opinion on them. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And finally, if you guys got value out of this video, do me a favor and smash like, as well as subscribe with bell notifications turned on so you can catch me every time I release a podcast or a new creative video. But until next time, guys, Luke from 8-Bit Plus signing out, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.